What's going on YouTube? So there are a ton of crossovers out there, all vying to get your attention. However, to the average consumer, most just kind of blend together. But that's where this all-new Infiniti QX55 comes in, by taking a bold, fashion-first approach to the compact segment and essentially coupifying their best-selling product. So is this fashion statement a reincarnation of the old FX? Let's go ahead and find out. So first, taking a look at the exterior, you may be tempted to say, well, Infiniti just chopped the back off a little bit and then left the rest the same, but actually they changed quite a bit, including up here in the front. Now when you look at the two models side by side, you'll notice that this is a substantially more aggressive front end than the regular QX50, with the grille itself being enlarged to be much bigger. You also have this aggressive lower fascia, as well as these elements that surround the standard LED fog lamps. I will also point out that you have a special finish here, and you can get this grille in gloss black. Now coming over here to your lighting, this is your signature Infiniti full LED setup. It does come on all the models, but if you choose the sensory, you're going to get the special cube design, which looks a little bit more unique, and that will come with adaptive abilities. But one of my favorite elements about the exterior has got to be these wheels. These are 20-inch contrast alloys, and with the QX55, these are included as standard equipment on all three trim levels. So even if you get the base model, you're going to have this beautiful design, which I think just really sets off this whole design. Now coming up here to the mirrors, the 55 will black them out with the gloss black. You also have standard blind spot monitoring, and then if you want heating, that's going to require the essential trim or higher.
Alrighty, so obviously the big difference for this QX55 is going to be the slope roof design. That's really the reason you buy this, is because it's more stylish than the regular QX50 and just has that kind of SUV coupe look that a lot of people are looking for. And then walking around to the rear design, you're also going to continue that stylish look, because Infiniti has kind of reshaped the design to make it look more sporty than the regular QX50. So you're going to notice that we have these taillights. These are wider than the regular model, and they are going to be standard full LED, and they also have a three-dimensional shape to them. So that actually has a really cool look in person, and it has a very premium vibe. Now, as far as here in the middle, we have our Infiniti spelled out across the back. Then if we drop down, we have our branding, we have a little piece of matte black plastic, and then we have our standard dual chrome exhaust outlets, which are going to be on all the QX55s. Now on the QX55, you're going to get two of the force safety systems standard on all of the models. So that's going to be forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection and auto high beam headlamps, as well as rear auto braking. Now, if you want adaptive cruise control as well as lane keeping assist, you're going to have to go for at least the sensory package, which throws in the Pro Pilot safety system package. Well guys, as you can see, the QX55 is quite the stylish vehicle on the outside, but now let's go ahead and check out the inside, see what luxury they put in there before we take it out in a spin. But before we do all of that, we would truly appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below.
So of course, the new QX55 will come standard with a smart entry system and remote start. As you can see, we do have the updated Infiniti key fob, which is more squared off. And then to get inside the vehicle itself, just put your hand behind the door handle and it will unlock. Alright, and taking our first look inside of this cabin, you'll notice the design is of course very similar to the QX50, which is definitely a good thing because that model definitely has a nice cabin. Now let's talk about your different color and material options. So the Luxe, like what you see here, will come standard with leatherette seating in your choice of graphite or this stone and graphite contrast option. The Essential will upgrade to real leather with the same color options, And then the sensory model will have semi-aniline leather plus an exclusive Monaco red option to just this QX55. Now turning over here to your door trim, it is very nicely finished. Infiniti puts leather across the armrest, the area above it, and even along the top part with the double color contrast stitching detail. We have a genuine aluminum trim that runs all through here as well. And if you choose the Essential model or above, you will have memory seating. As far as your windows, of course, all four will be one-touch auto up and down. Checking out the seats themselves, these are going to be 10-way power adjusting with 2-way lumbar support. And then, like I was already mentioning, this is a leatherette seat, but I do like that Infiniti makes this look very nice even on this base model with the contrast and the different stitching details. Now, ever since the QX50 came out, we have praised the interior material quality, and thankfully that does continue for the QX55 as well. So across even our upper dashboard, this is all going to be finished in a leatherette material with the stitching detail. Below that, we have the genuine aluminum trim. If you choose the top-end sensory model, this would be an open pore wood. Again, we have more leatherette that comes all through here. I really love how they do this color contrast design here, where it's half and half. That runs all through here. And of course, everything does fit together very well. Now start up, your push button start is located right here on the console. After it starts up, you can take a look at the gauges, which are just your typical Infiniti setup. Of course, you have your analog gauges, you have a 7-inch display right there in the middle, and you can use the steering wheel mounted control to cycle between all the typical expected information, including all your safety systems. Now, if you choose the sensory model or one of the lower models equipped with the Pro Pilot package, that would also throw in a head-up display. Now heading back here to the steering wheel, of course you have electric power assisted steering and a nice leather wrapped steering wheel. As far as the wheel itself, it is going to be manual tilt and telescoping until you get to the top end model, and that's going to throw in power adjustment as well as steering wheel heating. Alright, so let's go ahead and dig into interior storage. So we'll come over here to our half and half console here and open it up. And looking inside, very nice amount of storage for this class, quite deep. Really nice felt lining as well on all the sides, so I definitely appreciate that. And it looks like it's going to fit well, but we got to put it to the test anyways with the big stack of coupons. Yeah, those fit in there, no problem whatsoever, and don't even cover up the USB port. Now in front of that, we can slide back this cover, and that's going to reveal another small storage area, 2 more USBs, a 12-volt outlet, and your 2 main cup holders. Alright, so sliding back here to the shifter. This of course is an electronic shifter, nicely covered in leather. Just push on the button in the front and pull back for drive, and you can do that once more to activate a manual mode and shift through simulated gear changes with these paddle shifters. Push all the way up to go into reverse. And since we have the Luxe model, this is just going to give us the standard backup camera, which does include active trajectory. However, if you choose the other 2 models, that's going to throw in the around view monitor system, which has 360-degree camera system, as well as moving object detection. And then for park, just press the P right behind the shifter. You do also have an electronic parking brake with a brake hold function, and this will change your drive modes. Alright, and let's go ahead and move on up here to our audio system. So standard is going to be a 6-speaker sound system, and there is also an optional 16-speaker Bose Performance sound series, but we'll go ahead and sample the standard unit. So I'm actually surprised by how good this bass sound system sounds. Really nice bass And you really won't have to go up to that Bose Performance Sound Series unless you're like me and you like the metal speaker grills, which will also be thrown in when you choose that option. Okay, and now we're here at this main unit. So I'm going to start out with our climate controls, which basically flank this lower display. So you have adjustments with manual buttons for all the things. You can also go and click the climate button and make adjustments in the display if you want to do that for whatever reason. But like I said, all the buttons, including your fan speeds and zones, are all going to be located on the sides there. You do have standard 3-stage heated seats across all the models, and then you get ventilated seats if you choose the Essential trim or above. Also, if you choose the Sensory model, that's going to give you a 3-zone automatic climate control setup instead of this dual-zone automatic. And then taking a look here at our displays. This is your typical Infiniti InTouch setup. So what that means is you're going to have a 7-inch display down here, an 8-inch display up there. The top display is a touch display, or you can use this right here, and the bottom one is only a touch display. Now, starting last year, Infiniti updated this system to have more power, and that does carry on for the QX55. So as you can see, performance is pretty snappy, and everything loads very quickly. We don't have navigation on this specific example since that would come on the Essential or above, but what we do have is Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The Apple CarPlay is now wireless this year, so that is a first for the Infiniti brand. Up above that, we have an auto-dimming mirror with HomeLink universal remotes. And then up here on the roof, you're going to find a standard size moonroof. There is no panoramic option. That's due to the way that the roof slopes back because you need to preserve rear headroom.
Alrighty guys, so I'm in the QX55's rear seat, and my first impression is actually a really good one. Despite that sportback and sloping roof design that this 55 model has, I really do still have plenty of space. So as far as the legroom figures are concerned, we have 39 inches of rear legroom, which is no different than the regular QX50, and we have 37 inches of rear headroom, which is around 2 inches less headroom than that regular model, but really, it just doesn't feel all that claustrophobic back here, so I don't think most people will even notice the difference. Now, as far as the space, or as far as the features are concerned, here in the middle we do have vents. That's going to be standard equipment on the QX55. Then we also have a 12-volt power outlet, as well as a single USB charging port. And then if we fold down the center armrest, we do have cup holders inside. However, it is worth noting they are not offering heated rear seats, which I think would have been a nice touch. Now walking up to the tailgate of the QX55, a power one is going to be standard equipment on all of the models, and then you do have the hands-free function if you go for at least the sensory trim. But in order to open it, just locate this little button in between the emblem, and it will go ahead and open up. Now, as far as the space itself is concerned, you have 27 cubic feet behind the second row seats. That expands to 55 cubic feet if you fold them. That is around 11 cubic foot less than the regular QX50 model, if that's what you're comparing it to. And that does make it a little bit less than some of the other German rivals. But overall, I think there's a decent amount of space for most people's needs. And then as far as the floor, we have a nice carpeting. And if we lift it up, we do have additional storage. There's actually quite a bit of additional underfloor storage. Off to the left side, we have a 12-volt power outlet, and the seats do fold 60-40 split. Now over here at your passenger seat, you do have power adjustment, although you don't have the power lumbar support. And as far as the glove box is concerned, it is nicely leather wrapped on the outside. We also have a super nice felt lining here on the inside. And as far as the coupons are concerned, you know, it's got to be one of the top priorities when you're looking for a new vehicle, and it does a pretty good job. I will say this is better than some of the other competition because it has a place to slide back here, and it is nicely felt lined, so our coupons are not only spacious, but they're also happy inside. And up top, we do have a sun visor with a mirror as well as a light. We can also detach it, and it has an extension in the end.
Alright, so that comes first taking off with this QX55. Acceleration feels quite strong from this variable compression turbo. So this has got the same powertrain as the QX50, which is the variable compression 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder.
It's quick. It's quick.
Yeah, it really is quick. Power is going to be 268 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque, which is really good standard power for this class of vehicle.
Yeah.
And you can certainly feel the torque really push you back in the seat as you take off. Now, I want to go ahead and also talk about the other aspect of the powertrain, which is the CVT. So this does have a continuously variable transmission, though you might not notice it from this video because you can see there's a shift simulation, which does actually a pretty good job of making it feel, realistic. So I do like that aspect of it, and it does seem pretty responsive as well.
But let's take a moment to just discuss the ride quality of this QX55. I am noticing, I'm picking up on this, that this QX55 rides a little bit sportier than the QX50. The QX50 is very luxury oriented, even in the segment where like the German rivals and stuff. This has more of that German feel to it because you can feel the road a little bit more than in the QX50, which I think is it's going to be plus and minus. For some people that might be a con, but if you want a little bit more of a sporty experience, you are going to get that here in the QX55.
That's right. And as we kind of go around a bit of a corner here, and it handles pretty well. The suspension, like you're saying, is a little tighter. So because of that, the body roll is really well controlled. I like that aspect of it. The steering is still going to be on the light side though, so it's tuned to be a little bit more luxurious. But we do have some other drive modes as well, which we can try out the sport mode here in just a second.
Alrighty, and we could go ahead and discuss the fuel economy as we pass a gas station here. This vehicle is going to be all-wheel drive only, so all of the models are going to come in at 22, 28, 25 combined, which that's actually a very, very good fuel economy reading. That's on the very top part of this segment, even though we do have a lot of power.
Yeah, and circling back to what I said before, in the sport mode, obviously the throttle response is tighter. The steering is also tighter. As you can see, it really makes it actually quite a bit faster responding.
Okay, and let's get a sound level reading so we can compare to the rivals. Looking at 57 decibels, that's a very respectable reading. I do believe like the Audi Q5 as well as the Mercedes GLC tested a little bit lower than that, and I think I can pick up on a little bit of the engine noise entering into the cabin, but the overall just like detonating sounds pretty good.
And we're in the sport mode, which probably revs the engine up a little bit extra. But let's go ahead and talk about today's slam dunk and airball. So the slam dunk for us is just definitely the styling. This is a good looking SUV, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really a fan of a lot of these coupe crossover things. Some of them are just funky. I think this pulls it off better than the German competition and actually legitimately catches my attention for looking better than the normal version.
Yeah, I totally second that. Now, as far as our airball, you probably guessed it. It's going to be the CVT. We really just don't think that a CVT should be in a luxury vehicle. And Infiniti has put it in this QX50 as well as this QX55. And I mean, it does a good job of simulating, but it's just not as good as something like a German dual clutch transmission or something like that. You're going to have a less nice driving experience when you have a CVT, regardless of how good they've tuned it. But let's go ahead and talk about the pricing for this QX55. So it's about a $6,000 price premium over the regular QX50, but do keep in mind has a little bit more standard equipment, so that's something to note. So the Lux is going to start at 46,500, Essential 51.6, Sensory 57,050, standard all-wheel drive as well. This one, as equipped with the destination charge of 1,025, comes in at 48,795. So this is on the low end of the QX55 lineup, which I think is a pretty good price to buy this at, because I'm not really missing out on a ton of equipment over the high-end ones.
Right, and really this cabin doesn't change very much at all. So you have like a really nice cabin straight from the beginning. You know, and overall with this QX55, I think this has done a really good job with this product. You know, this really has good advantages over top of the QX50. And when you start factoring in, like Mason said, with extra standard features, with standard all-wheel drive, the price premium is, you know, not super high to be able to ride around in really super eye-catching fashion all the time, and you're not really sacrificing much in terms of cargo or rear space. So, you know, I feel like if I was making this buying decision, I would choose the QX55 over the QX50.
Well guys, we really appreciate you watching this in-depth review of the 2022 Infiniti QX55. If you found this video helpful or enjoyed it, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. It's completely free. And all it's going to do is give you notifications on our most recent content, and also tap that notification bell if you're willing. It really helps us out to get more opportunities and cooler cars for you all to watch. Anyway, we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.